is socially, economically, and biologically correct.
So what is gender? What makes you a certain gender besides a feeling? Because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that you feel anything.
Okay. So
what ties gender? What do you gender to?
So gender is inherently a social construct created over 100 years ago, in a way that can easily be described by clothing type, hair type, the makeup we wear, the way that we style our hair, the way we style our facial hair. Also, that includes eyebrows, the jewelry we wear, even the shoes we wear, the language and the way that we speak, and the demeanor that we hold ourselves. That is inherently what separates man and woman in gender construct. That is the basis of the construct of gender.
So if I wear men's clothes, that means I'm a man?
No, but that inherently would.
So then that goes out the window.
If you let me explain, it doesn't actually go out the window because it's inherently a construct. The exact same way that a man can wear what is inherently women's clothing and still be a man, because 100 years ago, I'm trying to explain it to you, because it is a construct. Therefore, the construct can be easily debunked and broken down if you just look 100 years ago. Now,
but I'm not getting an answer, though. I'm not getting an answer.
Okay, I'm trying to explain it to you, and if you give me a second to give
you keep saying that you're explaining, but you're not explaining.
Well, every single time I try and explain it to you, tell me that I'm not explaining it to you and you want an answer, and I'm trying to give you that answer.
Can you please explain?
It's more than just a sentence, if I may. Now, 100 years ago, what would then be dresses and makeup and heels were considered a manly thing. And now they're considered a feminine thing. So to put it down to one sentence, which is going to be incredibly difficult to do, gender is a construct created through time and capabilities also involved with our government and our social constructs given to us through class, through economic standpoint, and through race. That's what gender is.
I'm sorry, wait. Gender has something to do with race?
Gender has a lot to do with race, actually, because of the active social construct of supposedly black women are said to have more masculine features than a white woman.
Just because somebody has masculine features doesn't make them a man.
Okay, so if a woman had masculine features and she was possibly trans, then what? I mean, it is heavily a social construct which could be broken multiple times, because it's simply just a construct which was created by us for us and then given to animals surrounding us as well.
So what makes you a man and what makes you a woman?
Depends on what you see yourself as a man or a woman and how you feed into the construct around you.
Because I can see myself as that's no. If you're gonna tie gender to something, but I told you it has to do not with your feelings. So put feelings aside, how you view yourself. Everybody views themselves in a different way. What ties the gender?
But everyone would view themselves under one sort of construct or another construct, and if you don't view yourself under both of either of those constructs,
then there's no real answer.
The label of being
you're
non-binary.
not tying gender to
That's
anything.
the whole point, because there isn't a real answer, because it's a construct which was created by us. That's the whole point, is that it's a construct.
You're not tying it to anything but somebody's feelings, like I said earlier.
Because it's a construct. That's the whole point of it.
Why can it not be tied? Hold on. Why can it not be tied to feelings? Because you're tying your argument off of feelings on the fact that you don't feel comfortable with a transgender woman in the bathroom. That's basically
but mine is tied to statistics.
No statistics.
Well. Biological males are 99% of the people who assault intimately. You know what word that is. So right there, that's a fact. That's statistically proven. Your feelings are not facts. Your feelings have no scientific evidence, nothing. You cannot tie your feelings to anything.
Exactly. Hence the reason why gender is a construct, because it's inherently tied in with feelings. Therefore, it inherently cannot be tied down to anything, because it's a construct. Just the exact reason why you said a biological male, because that isn't a construct. That's a biological sex, which then you've, by logic and statistics, which you've just proven, are completely two different things.
So if you say that gender is only a social construct, how you feel, you cannot tell the difference between anybody. So you can't tell me that you could tell the difference between a trans woman and a man, a woman and a trans man. You cannot find any differences in all four of them, since it is a social construct.
Why does there necessarily need to be a physical difference?
But I'm asking you because
inherently I could assume that you were a trans woman. I could be wrong, but I could inherently assume that you were a trans woman.
Can you tell the difference between me and a man? Can you tell the difference between me and The Rock?
I can't tell. It
100%.
would be. It
But
would be hard to
how
tell
would
the
I be able
difference
to tell the
between.
difference between
But
you
wait,
and a
yeah.
trans woman?
How?
No,
Yeah,
my
In
exactly.
case
point,
How
you
would
are
I?
trans.
Hold
if
on,
there was a certain
Tina,
criteria that you had to
Tina.
meet to be a trans woman, for example, say Blair White,
There's no
you can
criteria.
look at her and be like, oh yes, that's a woman, right? Even though
There's
that she
no
is
criteria.
biologically
How
male.
would I? Here, Tina.
But
Let me ask you.
wait, hold on, because your argument is you don't have to do anything to yourself in order to be considered the opposite gender. That's my point. So
Well,
if right now, if
by
I don't have to do
yourself,
anything to myself and I say that I'm a man just because I feel like it.
Tina, okay,
by
so here,
yourself,
hear me
if
out. Here,
you,
wait,
if
wait, wait,
you,
hear me out, hear me out. Wait,
Alexis,
wait, wait, wait.
let
Hey,
me
hear me out,
let
damn
me
it.
explain this. No,
No, I
just
want to
let me
ask the
explain this because
question.
I'm still on the conversation of a
Okay,
construct and
go ahead.
assuming. Now, can you please repeat your question, Tina, if that's okay? Because you mentioned feeling. So if I got this right, and you can correct me if I was wrong, if you said you felt like a man and you wanted to identify as a man even though you don't socially look like a man, I would start calling you he him pronouns to be inherently respectful because that's who I am. Now I may look at you and think, well, she doesn't socially look like a guy. Fine, but I'd still respect the fact that you identify as a guy, therefore I'd start calling you he him pronouns just to be inherently respectful. Now with that logic, I wouldn't be able to assume if you're a trans or cis woman, because why? How could I? Because
Okay, no,
what
yeah,
is
and
the
that leads
construct
me
of
into
me to
my
look like
question
a
as
trans
well.
woman?
Tina, what is stopping me from assuming that you're a trans woman right now? What?
Trans women who go on HRT, get surgery, stuff like that. Trans women look like women. If
Okay, so
that's why
what's
they call
stopping?
it
Because
passing.
trans women
Then
are
what is?
women.
Okay,
But
no,
I'm talking about for the
hang on.
people
Wait, I
who
wasn't
do
finished.
not, you advocate that you don't have to do anything to yourself. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the people who are
Okay,
on
yeah, but
HRT. I'm not
the
talking
thing
about the people
is,
who get surgeries. Because
yeah,
yes,
I
a
get
trans
that.
woman looks like what? A woman,
But
right?
there's
On the
still
outside, but
okay,
inside it
Tina.
tells
But
a different story.
Under your framework, they're still biologically men. So why are you not scared of people that are trans women that are on HRT rather than not? Because they still are biologically men. Like, what's the difference?
Like I said, bottom surgery also plays a part in that.
What if they don't have bottom surgery, but they pass as a woman to you?
Then why are you looking at
Hold
somebody's
on, Faye,
genitalia then to identify who
wait.
they
I want to
are?
ask that question. I want her to answer that question.
Why do y'all advocate for fucking men?
I'm
Why
not
do y'all
advocating
advocate
for
for
men.
biological males to invade female spaces? That's the real question.
They're
Why do
not
you feel
I'm
comfortable with
advocating
men.
bunch of people who
I'm
have things between their legs to
Well,
assault
can you
women?
answer? Hold on,
Why would you
Faye,
advocate
stop.
for that?
Faye, don't. Hold on.
Nah,
I just.
seriously. Why
Okay,
would you
yeah, I
advocate
get
for
you,
that?
but can you answer my question first?
So that you can't tell the difference. I can't. If the trans woman looks like a woman, I'm assuming she's a woman. Yes. If a trans man looks like a man, I'm assuming that's a man. Yes. Until they tell me otherwise. Inside, it tells another story. You're absolutely right. I'm not denying that. But what I'm talking about is the people who say that they are something when they do not look the part. That's what I'm talking about.
well that then
Why
now
do you
could
have
be
to look the
compared to.
part?
Why do you think trans people try to pass?
Because at the same time, you're under your framework. They would have to, like, if they're biologically men, then they have to remain in the men's bathroom. And if they don't have bottom surgery, then they have to remain in the men's bathroom. So what if a trans woman has been on HRT for a very, very long time? Let's give them 10 years, right? But they've never had bottom surgery because they can't afford it, right? They still have testosterone. They still have the biological makeup of a man. Why
Like
are you
I said,
okay
I
with
wouldn't
them
know
using
the
the
difference.
female bathroom?
I honestly wouldn't know the difference. I'm not denying that. If they look like a woman but did not have
But
bottom
what
surgery, I would
lessens the
not know the
risk?
difference. But if
The,
you come into the
um
female restroom looking like Hulk Hogan,
I
bro, I'm gonna
I
know
have
that
to
you're a man.
go. I have to go. I'm being called. Sorry, but
okay.
if I can, I'll join this conversation later if that's okay. Goodbye. Good talk.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But it seemed like from the first time that I talked to you that you were just against everybody who was a biological man or is a biological man
I
going
did
into
not
any
say
female
that.
bathroom.
What I stated was if you pass, I probably would not know the difference. That's what I said. And I'm
Sure.
being
So what?
realistic. If Blair White walked into the female restroom looking the way she did as a trans woman, but did not have bottom surgery, I honestly would not question it because she looks the part of a woman. My
Sure.
problem is with what you're saying that you can identify whatever you want and that's your feeling. So if Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chris Jericho all identify as women without fitting that criteria, without looking like a woman and enter the women's restroom, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. That is my point.
Sure. So the issue with that is that earlier you stated to statistics, right? Biological men are more likely to commit a sexual assault or R word on somebody, right? So
Yep.
being that just because a woman or a transgender woman passes as a woman doesn't lessen that risk. So why are you still okay with it? If even if the risk isn't lessened because they are a biological man.
If they are what?
Biological man.
Or biological male.
Sure.
Because I could probably say that people who really are transgender are probably using the bathroom because they passed and there would be no issues. Whereas a person
Right.
who's claiming to be trans, like you said, there's no criteria, you're honestly probably a predator.
Right. So my thing is though, like maybe I'm not wording it correctly.
Like
So
my thing, there's a
earlier
gray
you
area.
stated,
That right there, that's the gray area. So, because I wouldn't know the difference, but I would know the difference between a man entering the restroom rather than a trans woman who passes as a woman. I wouldn't know the difference. That's the difference right there. I wouldn't question that. I
sure.
would question you as a
So
man walking into the restroom looking like a man.
right. So the thing is with that, like the issue with that, I'm gonna try to explain it a little better. Maybe I was confusing, but so earlier you stated that statistically, biological males are more likely to commit the R word and SA, right? So,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not a transgender female has been taking hormone therapy for some odd years, she's still a biological male. So, why are you not
Mhm. That
advocating
also it
for?
decreases your sex drive and stuff like that. If there's things that take place your bottom area where it doesn't work the way it was before.
That's not necessarily true.
You can look it up.
I've talked to transgender women before. I'm pretty sure that that's not true.
Okay.
I
I
mean,
read
I,
that.
I mean,
You can look it up.
I have. I've done my research on the topic. So essentially
But
all that matters to you is just the way they look. Is that right?
somebody who is really transgender would try to pass. Like they're not going to do it. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I don't think that they would really transition and do all that just so they could go into the bathroom and assault a woman.
Do
They're
you
not
know?
going to go on HRT and spend money just to go into the bathroom and assault people. They're going to do that anyway if they're a predator. But my thing is, again, there's no criteria that you have to meet in order to be a transgender woman. So, like I said, a man could say, "Yeah, I'm a trans woman," and you have to go by that. That's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that. Just like women could be predators too, as well, in the female restroom.
So okay. So here, let me clarify for you and tell me if I'm wrong. So you don't give a damn about transgender women going to the bathroom. You have a problem with men who are
But if
faking
you
being
can't tell the
transgender.
difference, that's my thing. You can't. You say that you can't tell the difference. So how do people know the difference without asking somebody?
So
And
yeah. So
anybody could
correct me if
lie
I'm
because
wrong.
there's no
You have
criteria that you have to meet. So they could say, "Yeah, I'm a transgender woman," and really they could be lying.
right. So
That's
correct
my
me if I'm
thing.
wrong. You have an issue with men pretending to be transgender women.
How do you know the difference between somebody who's pretending to be a transgender woman and
I don't
somebody
know,
who
but is
actually
that
is?
your problem? Is that the issue?
That's my issue.
Okay, that makes sense. That is valid, Tina. But the thing is, like the way that you're coming off to other people, I'm not saying that this is the way that you intend to come off. The way that you're coming off is that you have a problem with transgender women in totality.
Yeah, because yes, but because a man could say that he's a transgender woman, and I have to accept that. Mind you, he has does not look the part. He's not on HRT. He did not get surgery. Not saying that you have to get surgeries, but I'm just saying majority, most of them do get some sort of surgery, whether it be little or small. That's just what I'm saying by surgeries. Who meet no criteria. So, but like you said, I have to say yes. Okay, you are without you fitting that criteria. So
I
I have to
understand
accept
your
it. That's what I have a problem with. I have a huge issue with that.
yeah. So maybe we should talk more to the men pretending to
But
be.
how do you know that somebody's pretending if there's no criteria that you have to meet? And what if somebody does not give up their lie? Like in prisons right now, there's transgender
Oh
women,
shoot.
right? with no criteria, still have genitalia, everything like that, requesting to go in women's prisons, and it's acceptable. I forgot. I think it's in Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was in Jersey, or
Oh
it went
shoot,
from
Tina,
one
I
state
can't
to
hear
Jersey.
you. Hang on, my Bluetooth connected. Hang on. I'm so sorry. Hang on, just one sec. I gotta rejoin. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, why?
Bro, who told you to check yourself, little girl? Girl, listen. You need to go eat a sandwich. Get out of here. Goodbye. It's your big beaver face. That's the minority. We're not talking about that. Nah, don't unblock Jaden. People who are asking to unblock Jaden, don't unblock Jaden. Don't. At least not right now, because he's getting on my nerves right now. You can unblock him later, but not right now. I don't see you. Jaden, nah, yeah, wait, that's not him, is it? Yes, it is. Yeah, you have. I saw your comments, dude. Don't even lie.
Okay, I'm sorry. My Bluetooth connected to my car. I'm not driving, by the way, so don't block me. Don't ban me. My husband's driving. Okay, can you hear me now, Tina?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So where were we at?
I forgot. Okay. Oh, my
So
thing is,
yeah, I
how do
think I
you
was
know
trying
that
to.
somebody's lying? If somebody doesn't give up a lie, because let's face it, majority of the people who commit crimes, they lie, right? Because they're gonna lie to get their way.
Yeah,
So how would you know the difference between a man who is lying about being trans and compared to a man who say like really does feel like they're trans, but neither does anything to do, and neither does anything to fit, you know, being the stereotypical woman.
right. So unfortunately, we don't really consider things based off potentiality, right? We don't care about the potential of things. We wait until somebody commits a crime. Just like so, for example, we could sit there all day and study a child who has very violent tendencies and whatnot, but we don't convict him for murder until he commits the murder. So we can't really base a trans or someone pretending to be transgender. We can't really charge them with anything until they commit that crime. So you can't really assume that every transgender is going to commit a crime until they
That's
commit
not what
that
I'm
crime.
saying. But there's things that you take in order to um have the risk of assault maybe lessen and not be as high, just like laws are in place so people don't just commit crimes. Because if there was no laws, I think you can make an educated guess again what will happen if there's no laws against stealing or unaliving somebody, the crime rate will skyrocket. But there's laws in place to minimize that. Like, does it still happen? Yes, absolutely. But probably you can guess not as often as it would if there was no laws in place. That's what I'm saying. So that's meeting a certain
Yeah.
criteria I feel like is important. Will some people not conform to that thing and assault? Absolutely. That's not what I'm not saying it eliminates it 110%, but it does eliminate it can eliminate, a good portion of assaults and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying.
I understand where you're coming from. I do, but I think maybe your issue needs to reside with the people that are pretending to be transgender
But
rather than
again,
the
if you
actual.
can't tell the difference, that's my thing. If you guys advocate that anybody could be anything that they want, my thing is then anybody could lie. Everybody could lie about what they are without meeting that criteria. That's why I say meeting a certain criteria is very important. That's what I'm saying. Because you're like, oh well, what if people lie? But anybody could lie, and you wouldn't know because there's no criteria that you have to meet.
I understand where you're coming from, Tina. I understand. And it's a very hard topic because at the same time, if we were to implement a law like that, we would be essentially stopping actual transgender individuals from using the bathroom that they need to use. But then, we'd also be allowing or not allowing, fake transgender people to use the bathrooms as well. So you see where the dilemma resides.
I don't think it's hard if you really want to be if you really wanted to transition, say, into a woman. I don't think if you really were, I don't think that you would say you would make other women uncomfortable. I don't think that would be part of your agenda because you want to fit in with them, right? Like that's the whole
So,
reason.
what about transgender women who can't afford bottom surgery or can't afford hormones or can't afford to get laser surgery for their facial hair?
That's on them.
But
Honestly,
they
most
still have a
insurances are
they
covering
still
everything. So all you need is medical insurance. And let's face it, a lot of medical insurance here in certain states is it's like free.
Well, I mean, that's a whole different ballpark because there's a lot of people in America that don't have insurance. Me,
So if you don't
up
look the
until
part,
last year, did
I'm
not.
lost to why you would look like the way you do. Let's just say
Well, I
a man.
mean, so
Let's
here,
not
hear me
wait,
out.
hold on. Let's not even talk about like a macho man. Let's talk about Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is small as hell. Why would Ryan Reynolds say that he's a woman and feel comfortable enough to go in the women's restroom? If he goes in the men's, nobody's gonna question him. No, he's not gonna be bothered. So why would you feel like you should use the women's restroom? Yes, you could call yourself whatever you want to, but you're making people uncomfortable in the women's restroom because by the way you look, you obviously look like a man. So
Can I
you
ask
would
you?
rather make
Can
women
I ask you
uncomfortable.
why? Can I ask you why it makes you uncomfortable if they don't do anything to you? All that anyone's going in there to do is piss and
Would you
shit.
want a biological man just staring at you while you change in a locker room?
In a locker room, I don't know why people
Just
change in
staring.
locker rooms naked in front of each other. That's just honestly that's off to me. I
But
change in the changing
let's
rooms,
be realistic.
but
Spas, we all women, not all, but women do change in front of each other and stuff like that. Now, would you feel comfortable with men looking at you while you're changing? So you're naked. You say you took a
if
shower,
they are
come from the
if
gym.
they are if they are a transgender woman, I would not have a fucking issue with it. And if they were, regardless of if they were
So,
a
but you're
man,
so
hold
a
on, hold on, hold on.
transgender woman
It,
looks different than a
regardless
man.
regardless of whether or not they were a man or a woman or non-binary or whatever, if they are staring me down while I am changing, I don't give a shit if you're a cis woman. I'm gonna find that it's fucking weird. And I've had cis women stare at me in the locker room. That shit was weird. That's why I change in changing rooms by myself now. It depends on the person as an individual, not as what they are, you know. And I don't give a shit
Just
whether or
like
not
in
you're
the
a man
spa,
or a
the
woman
whole
or
spa
whatever.
situation, the whole spa situation. You got little girls in the spa as well with mothers, and you have a whole man with his junk hanging out.
Where
I
was
think I
that?
would be uncomfortable, and my child would be uncomfortable.
Where was that?
At the Wee Spa, I think it was.
See,
It was
that's
somewhere
a
in
that's
W.
that's a weird thing for me because I don't feel like we need to have little girls changing in front of any adult unless it's their parent. That's fucking weird.
But if she brings, okay, it was Wee Spa. Yeah, I forgot. I thought it was Wee,
Nah, see, that's weird.
um,
If you have your child changing and getting
but
naked
it's
in front
also
of
weird if I have my
any other
child in the
adult,
bathroom with a grown man. It's also weird. You have to keep that same energy. You're saying that it's weird, right? Well, my child is at her vulnerable state right now with her everything dropped to her ankles using the bathroom with a
yeah.
man in the restroom. So you
Why
have to
are
keep
you
that
why
same
are you
energy.
allowing that? Why are you allowing your child to use the bathroom and change in front of other adults that aren't
I'm
their
talking
parents?
about in the I'm saying in the bathroom. If my child's in the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And there's men in there. You don't think that's uncomfortable for my child and for me? Because you
Not
said in a
necessarily.
spa
I
it's not
wouldn't. I
acceptable,
wouldn't.
but a bathroom it is. That's ridiculous.
I would say so. Again, I would say if they're a transgender woman, that is fine. If
But
it's
you
just
can't tell
a
the difference
male,
without asking somebody, right?
so
That's
here,
what you said.
let me ask you this: what is your stance? Just to put it out there, what is your stance like? Say, for example, my husband right now. Say we had a daughter, and he needed to take his daughter to the bathroom. Which bathroom does he supposed to use?
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
If my husband and had our daughter, right, and he was alone and he was in a restaurant, right, there's only a men and a women restroom, which restroom is he supposed to use with his daughter?
Well, how old is she?
5.
Honestly, I see a lot of dads take them into the men's restroom.
Okay, so what's the issue there? What's the issue? If no one's, yeah, what's the issue?
Are there women in the men's restroom? Is he going in the men's restroom to assault women, or is he taking his little girl to the bathroom?
He's taking his little girl to the bathroom, but there's
Okay,
other
that's the
men in
difference,
there.
right?
There's other men in there. What's the issue?
Because he's there to protect his child. He's there. Nobody. I really highly
It
doubt that
doesn't
any
matter
man
though.
is going to
You
try.
just said that. You just said that if I took my child into a bathroom and there was other men in there, that we'd
A
feel uncomfortable.
biological male has an advantage over biological females. That's just a fact. I don't care. I don't care. That's a scientific fact. Okay, they have an advantage over us. A male has a better chance at fighting a male than he does a female. Than a female has fighting a male. Like, you get what I'm saying? So if something goes down in that bathroom, that man can probably handle himself against another man rather than a female trying to handle herself over a male.
But you do see how that's not like consistent, right?
No, you're not being consistent. I'm being consistent.
How am I not
I'm
being
saying a
consistent?
man going into a restroom with a bunch of women. You're talking about a man going into the men's restroom with a little girl. Those are two completely different situations.
Oh shoot, where'd she go? Oh, I froze. Sorry, I froze for a second. I didn't hear anything you said. Why does it keep freezing? Tina, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're frozen.
I can hear you.
Okay, now you're not frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't feel like that's really consistent. I think that all anyone
But
really
you're
gives a
not being
shit about, or
consistent because
anyone
you're saying,
anyone really
wait,
should
wait,
give a
wait.
shit about,
No,
is the
because you're saying that,
individual.
oh, well, I would feel comfortable with a transgender woman in the locker room with me, but I wouldn't with a man. But if you can't tell the difference, then how do you know who's who? Do you ask them? Do you personally ask everybody in the locker room, hey, are you cis? Hey, are you trans? Hey, are you non binary? Or do you just assume?
Yeah, but my thing, Tina, my thing is right here is the fact that you're only giving a crap about how somebody looks rather than what's inside of them. Because earlier you said that statistically, biological men are more likely to commit a crime, a sexual crime, if they are more than women are, right? Biological men. So transgender women are still biologically male, right?
What do
They're still
you want me to say?
biologically male. So why do you only care? Why do you only care about how they
Because
present if they're still biologically
if
male?
people are really
Because what?
trans, they would do everything they can to pass. That's their intention is not to
Why does that
assault
matter if they're still
people. Their
biologically
their
male?
intention is to pass as the opposite gender and live a normal life.
Okay, yeah,
Whereas a
great, but
biological male who is
why does
not,
that matter if they're still
oh my
biologically male? They're
God.
still within that statistic. They're still considered within that statistic, Tina.
All right, so how about this? Do you want me to say this? Then use the men's bathroom. That's what you want to hear. All right, so then use the men's bathroom. You don't have bottom surgery, use the men's bathroom. I don't care. How about that? Does that make you happy? Because like
If
what I'm doing
Tina,
is there's a gray
even
area
if they do,
which no, because with that, that's the gray area. Because I wouldn't feel like a trans woman who passes as a woman, would be safe in the men's bathroom. Did someone block her? Nobody blocked her, right? No, it says offline, but it didn't say that she was blocked. But I just want to make sure that nobody blocked her. It kicked her. Nah, nobody blocked her. Okay, my thing is with the gray area. I'm saying that a trans woman who looks like a woman would not be safe in. I don't think that she would be safer in the men's bathroom. That's the gray area. That's what I'm saying. But it's the people who say that they're trans and there's no criteria that you have to meet. You know what I like? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a gray area to every argument. That right there is my gray area. Can someone see if she got banned, please? Yeah, see if she got banned, because I don't, nobody blocked her. Or if TikTok knocked her out, because I know that happens too, because TikTok be kicking people off live. That's why there's a gray area, and there's things with everything. Just like there is with, say, murder, right? You got manslaughter, you could be charged for murder. It goes down to manslaughter, etc. Like there's different things. That's my gray area right there. That's the gray area. But if you want me to be like, oh yes, just use the men's bathroom, they're great. What do you want me to say? Because I'm conformed to safety, and also I'm look, that's both safety right there, the safety for women and then the safety for people who really are transitioned into the opposite gender. So if you don't want me to look out for the safety of people who transition, just say that. Because I don't feel like people who really transition, okay, are really going to go out their way to transition fully just so they could assault women. I think that statistic would probably be very, very low for them to do. You know what I mean? That would be very low. Rather than what's high is when you just say, oh, anybody could be anything that they want. Those are the people who are going to take advantage of it. So the people who are not on HRT, who don't get surgeries, who don't socially transition into the opposite gender, those are the people that I'm talking about. Not saying that people who do transition cannot assault, because they can. But I don't think that's their agenda to do. You feel me? Like most of them just want to fit in. To fit in and not be questioned. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Chi, you requested to comment. I saw you and then you disappeared.